This episode of Industrial Talk is brought to you by RDI Technologies. RDI Technologies is the pioneer in motion amplification. Their proprietary technology enables users to see and measure motion impossible to the human eye and turning complex data into easy-to-understand videos to solve maintenance challenges quickly and safely. For more information, go to rditechnologies.com. Hey, Industrial Talk is brought to you by CAP Logistics. You want to minimize downtime? Absolutely. Increase reliability? You bet. Ensure operational profitability? Yes, you do. That means you need 24/7, 365 insights into your supply chain. Look no further. CAP Logistics. Go to caplogistics.com or just call them. They're great people. 800-227-2471.
Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott McKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right, once again, thank you very much for joining Industrial Talk, the number one industrial-related podcast in the universe, Steve, and you can pretty much track that by data. No doubt about it. And we are broadcasting from the 30th Annual SMRP Conference. I'm right here on the exhibition floor. I'm looking at incredible vendors providing great services and solving doggone problems here and now. Because you are bold, brave, and daring greatly, you deserve all of this because we want you to be a success. That's what Industrial Talk is all about. Steve Carter's in the house. He's in the hot seat. And we're going to be talking about, well, Steve Carter stuff. I don't know if that's right. But he's here. He's gonna dazzle everybody. Let's get him. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Scott. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm all geeked out.
Right?
Because you're the first time. This is a first time conversation. We've never met before. We met today, and you've never been on the podcast, and so I'm always excited when I have new people.
Well, I am excited as well. I've actually listened to your podcast in the past.
Have you really?
Yeah. In preparation for this job I took, specifically. I mean, that's what kind of nerd I am.
Wow. God, I feel really pretty cool about the whole doggone thing. That's really neat, man. I'm touched. Because, it's funny. I recognize the fact that, one, I can geek out on this stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't care, man. I'll geek. Right? A geek. And I'm always thinking, well, there might be 3 people out there that that like this and be passionate about innovation, technology, solving problems, and just being into that world. So, with that said, give us a little background on who Steve is.
Steve Carter, National Sales Manager in heavy trucking and heavy machinery for KCF Technologies.
Tell me, when you say heavy trucking, what do you mean and heavy machinery, like mining equipment and big old semis and things like that?
That's a great question, Scott, because there is a large range when it comes to heavy trucking. You've got your Dodge 2500 and above, your Class 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are, my bread and butter, if you will. When you think about heavy trucking, you're thinking about semi-trucks, you're thinking about dump trucks, any number of multi-axle vehicles.
So with that said, what are we doing at KCF? What about? I mean, okay, so you're in heavy truck, you're trucking machinery. What does that mean? What problems are we trying to solve here?
So, I mean, when it comes to KCF, we're basically a comprehensive machine health solution. We use wireless vibration sensors to transmit data from manufacturing equipment to the cloud and then to our proprietary smart diagnostic software, which then allows individuals who don't have a advanced degree in vibration to better understand what their machines are doing and how we can support them.
But the machines are heavy truck and machinery.
You're talking fans, pumps, motors. When it comes to that, everybody's got the same twin blower fan out of Chicago. So a lot of the assets are similar. We go into sectors at KCF. So I'm in the automotive sector. So everybody who works in this sector, it's basically the same type of assets across the board. Now, there will be similar assets across, every sector, but we try to hone it down for automotive. That way, we really specialize and probably worked on an asset at another plant so we can better understand yours.
Do you take into consideration the location of the asset? So that fan, that motor in Michigan, is it the same as the fan and motor down in Alabama?
You're never going to get to see the same because it's always different about, installation, the environment. It's never the same. There are similarities, if you will, which has been able to give us the ability to build out specific assets, specific models. So we've got over 200,000 years of machine health data where we're able to then build out algorithms that we can put a model on top of a fan and be able to help you better diagnose and understand when you're going to see a fault in that asset and what you need to do to correct it as well.
So you do. So you've got the proprietary algorithms that you've collected all this data. So you have a fairly decent picture of that fan, that whatever. I keep using fan. I would like to sort of progress the conversation beyond a fan. but let's talk about the fan. Anyway, but you're able to take all of the data and the algorithms and be able to truly hone that diagnostic on that piece of equipment, that asset, given the fact that you've got all this great information on it.
Yeah, we can. And the great thing about our software is it also uses machine learning. So as we diagnose those faults, and then you correctly say in the software that was the issue, you did fix it, and we've seen, the asset come out of that fault mode. Going forward, now we know that kind of squiggly line, if you will, portrays this fault. And then going forward, we can continue to hone that and become more and more accurate as we go.
Yeah, and I would imagine it's also a situation where you're analyzing the data, whatever that looks like, and I'm going to continue to analyze this data, and everything's fine, and not all data. How do you deal with? And I'm sorry, I digress. I just went on a tangent here. Something popped into my head. If all the data, if everything's fine, if everything's just reading fine, you don't need that data. Do you just keep on storing that data?
We just keep on storing that data.
You do?
Yeah, that gives us the ability to have historical data that we can draw upon in the future. And the nice thing about that is, KCF has three really big components that make it such a standout company. Number one, it's its hardware. We've got fantastic hardware, all proprietary. Number two, our software, our smart diagnostic software, which makes those squiggly lines digestible for your average shop floor worker. So you don't have to have one person sitting in the background, giving people the correct information, if you will, after reading through it. And then number three is we have a Sentry team, which is our services department, which is a team of all level 2 certified vibration analysts who sit back and review that data so you don't have to. So there's no one person at your plant sitting behind a computer, 8 hours a day, even though, your plant's running 24 hours. You can have those people out working, and then we will let you know when there is an alert or there is a fault.
Yeah, I got to get some clarification. Did you say Sentry?
Sentry. It's our Sentry team, and those are basically our technical analysts who sit behind the salespeople.
So run us through the process. Back to the fan.
Yeah.
So you got a device out there on the fan, and you're measuring the vibration of what's going on. Mm-hmm. Everything's fine. Then all of a sudden, things start to trend differently, but you have an analytic component.
Yep. And
it starts saying, hey, it's trending. It's doing some things that I'm going to notify somebody. Right?
Yep.
So I'm still tracking. I'm going to notify somebody saying, hey, something's going out there. I don't know what's going on, but there it is.
You need to go grease that fan, we'll say. Right?
Oh, so there is even tactics.
It'll tell you what you need to do to correct it. So, and I've actually seen this happen in real time. We've got a large trucking company on the West Coast. I was there to basically do a lunch and learn and walk them through the software further. They'd installed a week prior, and all of a sudden we were getting some alerts from their fan on the roof. And it said, hey, listen, we're having an alert. Looks like you need to go grease that fan. So the maintenance guy sitting right next to me calls it out, has the maintenance tech go up there, and in real time, we actually saw the acceleration drop from 2 Gs back to 0.9.
Oh, no kidding.
And he was sold right there.
Along the same time with lubrication, right? Mm-hmm. There are many schools of thought out there.
There are many, more than I ever imagined.
More than many schools. And do you, in that same analogy, you're saying, okay, you need to put X amount of this type of grease here. Mm-hmm. And from a maintenance perspective, from me,
Yep.
all I have to do is go, okay, I need that type of grease. I need this amount because of the analytics saying I need to do that, and boom, and I can see it real time.
And you can see it in real time, which actually
That's pretty cool.
Which leads to us being able to build heat maps, right, of your plant floor and let you know which shift is working correctly. So you can see the heat map that, when second shift goes out and does what they were told to do, what they believe is the right way to provide that maintenance, you can see that they're actually maybe touching assets they don't need to touch. If it's green, you don't need to touch it. You only really need to start to work on the ones that are yellow and red. So having this real-time heat map of which assets you can focus your time on actually helps schedule, helps save time, and relieve the fact that right now we're going through a labor shortage that is affecting everyone. So imagine if you were able to focus all your time on the assets that needed it and not the ones that didn't.
It makes sense. And so if let's take that next step forward. Here I come in. I'm a maintenance professional. I look at my dashboard.
Yeah,
right. You got a
we
dashboard,
like to call
right?
them dashboards. They're pretty hot. I'll show you some pictures.
Oh yeah, there you go. So we got some dashboards, which I'm always geeky about, and I'm looking at it. And I'm looking at all of the assets that are being tracked, and then I just look at, because we're all about color codes.
Oh, yeah.
Green, yellow, red. Red bad.
Red bad.
Yeah,
Red
run
bad.
on out there. But you don't want, organizationally, do you want any red, or do you try to capture it at yellow?
You want to capture it at yellow.
Yeah.
Red means you're going to see a fault, and that machine, and where our whole goal is zero downtime.
Yes.
Right? Safety,
Yep.
zero downtime.
Yep. Because that means that asset is spinning out what it needs to be spinning out, and it's revenue, all of that good stuff.
You want to make sure throughput is as high as possible, and that's what people are trying. They're trying to do more with less right now.
So it begs the question. So you had me at hello. It begs the question of what pushbacks do you? What pushbacks are there?
Well, it's a well known that ultrasonic is better than vibration, right?
You say so. Because I'm not going to get into that debate. I can't.
This is what's been thrown back in my face all the time is, ultrasonic, you're going to catch the fault earlier. But then those people are only doing ultrasonic once a quarter. Well, vibration continuous monitoring is the best, right? Because you're going to be able to see that because you're monitoring that asset 24/7. So basically our signal put is that you could get it down to about every 12 seconds. I wouldn't suggest it. It's going to really drain the battery. But if you had an asset that you want to monitor that closely, you could do it for every 12 seconds. And people say, why do you need to do it that often? Well, there's sometimes that an asset will go into fault mode, but nobody knows it, and it will recorrect itself. But you want to be able to capture that. So, if it continues to do that, you will. It's a death by 1,000 paper cuts, right? So catch it the first time, fix it, and then that way it's going to, you're going to extend your machine health, the life of the machine.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things. The only pushback I really get is people don't believe it's possible, right? So which is why
people don't believe it's a problem.
No, possible to actually.
No way.
Yeah, to catch these faults and be able to diagnose them correctly, which makes me. I'm a big believer in pilots. So we do a number of pilots. We usually like to do a pilot before we have a company buy, just because it gets them familiar with the product, it gets them excited, and then they end up buying even before the pilot's over and expanding that initial purchase.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of incrementalism.
Yep.
Like, I understand the pilot, as long as people don't get in that pilot purgatory where they're just sort of, hey, that's great, hey, it's good.
There is a company that I'm dealing with right now that is in pilot purgatory. I'm not going to name names.
No, don't start reliability trash talking here on Industrial Talk.
I definitely won't.
But the reality is that I agree with that. I think that, but do you find the community as a whole, industry as a whole, beginning to sort of embrace the reality that, yeah, this stuff's working. This stuff means, I see the value.
Scott, I'd like to think it's me, and they see the value in my sales pitch, but
automatic.
Honestly, I've never been in a position like this, in a sales position, where I had companies call me and beg me to come out. It's been something that more and more people are beginning to realize that they need to do, and once they do, they just can't get enough.
it seems to me, as we close, that is it a fairly decent turnaround? I mean, if I were saying that pump right there, man, that pump's important, and I come to you and I go, Steve, that pump's important. What can we do?
We could do
See
it.
how I shifted? I didn't want to go to a fan because I don't want to have any fans in my business.
I thought we were going to be talking fans the rest of the
No.
I'm not prepared to talk pumps.
Yeah.
No, it's
a juke.
Our vibration sensors are actually rare earth magnets. I can tell you they're very strong magnets. I put one on my fireplace, and both my kids haven't been able to rip it off yet. So the install takes minutes sometimes. I mean, we like to make sure that you're monitoring the correct assets. We're doing it the right way. But honestly, I've seen 200, 300 sensors installed in an afternoon.
And then it starts,
It immediately kicks out data. I was at an engine plant a month ago and brought my demo kit, which is always, that's never clunky. Brought my demo kit, set up, and by the time I got back to the boardroom, we were watching their assets in real time.
And as you're looking at the assets in real time, are you able to sort of also begin to pull diagnostics saying, see,
yep.
that's a red guy?
Yeah, we can benchmark, and then we continue to improve that asset following.
Well, geez. I should be asking you for money because apparently everybody else is asking you.
Exactly. I've got a wedding ring.
I do too. I want a rare earth magnet.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
They're really cool, actually.
Oh, yeah, they are. That when as you can see, I was a bit distracted by the fact that he goes, you went around the motor thing and you did that. I was still thinking, how do I get a hold of a rare earth magnet? And so I was like, yeah. All right, we're gonna. This is fantastic. By the way, as I look at your booth, I think I see your booth.
Yep.
I see the corner of your booth.
That's us.
Yeah. What I do see is that you have these devices. Are they?
That's them. Those are the wireless sensors.
Really?
They look like little Flonase.
They do.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, hey, they're stealing that stuff. I want to take a picture of one, and then I'll post it, and then you guys can see it. Everybody out there on LinkedIn. Anyway, how'd I get a hold of you?
Hey, Scott, you can reach me at my email, steve.carter@kcftech.com, or give me a call on my cell, 215-205-5031.
I have his card, so listener out there who needs to get a hold of Steve, fear not. It's going to all be out on industrialtalk.com, plus his cell number. You sure you want to give that?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Oh, yeah. No big deal. No sweat up my back. All right, we're broadcasting from the 30th Annual SMRP Conference. You get great people like Steve and many others delivering value, solving problems. It is exciting. I like it. You like it too. We're going to wrap it up on the other side, so stay tuned. We will be right back.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
All right, once again, thank you very much for joining Industrial Talk, and absolutely thank you very much for your support. Steve Carter, go out to his stat card, LinkedIn stat card, KCF Technologies. And by the way, if you're out on video, he referenced Flonase, a device. Well, the device does look like that. But if you're out there, check it out right there. Yep, there's the magnet. There's the device. And by the way, it's super, he was right, super easy. So you just sit there. You got this little clap right there, and then you can just pull it off, and you get to the device. There it is. Look at that. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. KCF Technology. There it is right there. In your face right there. All right. Thank you again for joining. Go out to Industrial Talk. Give us your support. If you're in industry whatsoever, reach out to me. We're going to be at conferences. We're going to be doing a lot of things. We're going to elevate this conversation in 2023. We need to make sure that you are celebrated along with all the other industrial professionals. We've got tons of information out there. Remember, we're all about education. We're definitely all about collaboration, and you need to innovate, but you need people that you can trust to work with in your innovation journey. All right. Thank you again. Be bold, be brave, dare greatly. Hang out with Steve Carter. You're going to change the world. Thank you very much. We're going to have another great conversation coming from SMRP shortly, so don't go away.